Good evening, everybody. What's up? It's the one and only African superstar. Big shout outs to my loyal and loving family members here today. I really appreciate you for being in. Want to remind you that we have an upcoming tour here in Ghana. And if you are looking forward to coming and touring the country, who better to do it with than me and Mr. Taye Uhuru, my tour partner. There's still a little bit of space for a couple weeks. Yeah. The tour is October 21st through the 27th. I did receive an email from somebody regarding the tour, but every time I tried to send the email back, it kept rejecting. So if you are that person, perhaps you can reach out to me through Instagram. I don't know what is going on with your email because I sent emails both before and after your message I received. So anyway, if you're interested about the tour booking or what our itinerary is, please head over to www.tayeahuru.com. And also, guys, I have a new EP out called Iconic. I'm currently streaming 4 of those tracks on all of the streaming outlets, which is Sunday Born, Come Closer, WIAA, which is my dynamic collab with Mr. Taye Uhuru and Lippy, and also what's the fourth one? Hard to Forget. Yes, Hard to Forget. So please make sure you are adding our music to your streams. You're adding it to your playlist. You're supporting my musical journey here. If you enjoy my music, please do something to contribute to the growth of our music. Tonight I have an unpopular opinion, which you may or may not realize, and you may or may not realize like the profound impact that this has on you. But I just want to let you know and remind you that your media is heavily manipulated. Okay, now a lot of people know that the media skews things, the media is biased. Depending on who's reporting or what network, you're going to get a particular spin of this and this and this situation. But it really, really, really is ultra biased. And it's showing you a fraction of certain things, certain truths. And what actually motivated was I've actually been hearing a lot about monkeypox lately. I've been hearing a lot of it from my friends who are in the States. And they keep asking me about what's going on in Ghana or Africa regarding monkeypox. They're apparently getting media that is saying that there's a lot of cases here and that it's a frenzy and all of this kind of stuff. Meanwhile, I'm here residing on the continent. I have friends from all over the continent and nobody is echoing the sentiment. But obviously, this is in alignment with the projection that the media wants to send out about the continent. Okay. Meanwhile, white people are flocking here, Europeans are flocking here, Indians, Chinese, and Asians. You see, all of these media tactics are to deter a specific type of person from certain things. Largely for those of you that have actually not traveled the world and not traveled to Africa, this is a huge portion of why you see the world you do, the way you do. Because you have to ask yourself, if you have not experienced something in particular, nor anyone immediately close to you, so I'm not talking about like your colleague at work or classmate in university or somebody you ran into on the train or the bus. I'm talking about your sister, your mom, your brother, your husband, your kids, yourself, whatever. So you have to actually analyze where you are getting these perceptions from. And when you actually go back to the root, you will see that you are making a lot of opinions and, standpoints based off of fallacy, based off of biased information that is making you have the perception that you are. Now, all I can tell you is, like I said, I'm here in Ghana, and this monkeypox, whatever is happening regarding it, it is not being heavily projected here. I know during COVID, when I moved here in late 2020, we were basically doing business as usual. here in Ghana. We had a lot of freedom of mobility. We weren't required to wear the face mask. You know what I'm saying? We were just living normal lives for the most part. And the outside perception, people kept saying, oh, how are you guys doing during lockdown? Is everything okay? They were very, very concerned. And I was just thinking, like, the reality versus the media perception is vastly different. And so I want to, as always, promote you guys to be critical thinkers when you are evaluating information. What I have found overall to be the ultimate is doing your own research. Doing your own research and creating your own assessments based off of personal experiences. Now, obviously, you can't experience everything. You can't travel everywhere. But when you realize that a particular channel is compromised, which we know our education is compromised, we know our media is compromised, we know our religion is compromised, then anything coming from those channels has to be analyzed. And you have to look at the big picture in order to make that analysis, even if you can't, you're not able to do direct experience. You know what I mean? Look at the surrounding measures that connect the dots. So is it a coincidence that once so many people started becoming interested in Africa, that the pandemic, came and shut down international travel? Is it a coincidence that now travel to Africa is more expensive than ever before? Is it a coincidence? All this, human rights stuff that the West is trying to impose on African nations regarding their policies about homosexuals. All of this stuff. Why now? Why right now? What is the push? I personally believe that now, large in part due to social media. Social media has been the liaison between a lot of people globally. And it's been an eye-opening experience for a lot of people in changing their, perception and changing their exposure. This is why, for instance, as Black people, for a lot of our people, they have such a positive image of non-Black people, or they think that certain people are rich, or they think that certain people are intelligent. It's due to the way that the media is skewed. You must know this. And, when I came to this point in my life where I realized, oh my gosh, like a lot of what I have learned is lies, not true, or not comprehensive, that's when I said, okay, I need to actually experience these things for myself. And I'm telling you, like 99% of the things that I thought I knew about places, for instance, I traveled to, the reality is vastly different than what I expected. Like, for instance, France. Okay, the perception that France puts out there is, very white, fashion capital of the world, a very posh, elite kind of place, with very little diversity. When I got to Paris, I was shocked of how many Black people were there, and I just thought to myself, it's amazing that this is omitted from the media. You know what I mean? Like, you would have literally, if you've ever been to Africa, it's a French Africa. I saw people on the corners of the street selling Eiffel Towers, like people would sell things in traffic here in Ghana or Nigeria, and you just saw so many Africans. A lot of the Africans from the countries where France colonized, they migrate to France because they speak French, and it's just unbelievable. I remember when I went to, when I first started coming to the continent, I was astounded. When I went to South Africa, when I came to Ghana, the projection that Black people are, ultra violent, and you see how peaceful it is here. You know, how very little crime, very little violent crime, very little murders. You know what I mean? And you're just like, wow. You know, you'd be surprised how many African nations are super conservative when it comes to like matters of sex. Yet they promote this idea that our people are very promiscuous. Now, I would say that some of these stereotypes do apply to many of our people, but the people that have been socialized in the West, basically the people that have been exposed to the Western way of life, are the people that demonstrate this stuff. So it's more of a Western influence than it ever was, because I tell you what, if the stereotypes of our people were innately true, the continent will be the last place you want to be, because this is the place in the world with the largest population of Black people, So obviously, if we're violent, if we're promiscuous, if we were unhygienic and all these things, the continent would literally be like an awful place to be. But many of us are coming here and seeing the flip side, and we're just like, wow, I cannot believe that this was hidden from me. And, I was just thinking, as my friends were talking about this monkeypox, and I was thinking, yet another smoke and mirrors, to deter people that may be getting interested in the continent or traveling there or whatever, to just be deterred. Because quite frankly, a lot of diasporians that grew up in the West, if they had options to get out, if they had the finances or whatever, and they were in a position, they would happily go elsewhere. Unfortunately, a lot of people are caught up in those environments. Either they have kids with foreigners, they're in debt. They now have health problems. They're not fit, like a lot of things may be prohibiting them from feeling comfortable relocating to another country or whatever. But all of this, media perception, skewing of the media, it really, really does a profound thing. So I decided years ago that I really did not have any practical information about Africa. And I needed to get that for myself, because it was a huge question mark in my mind. I knew that the media was lying to me, but I didn't know what the reality was, And unfortunately, when you don't have context, your mind will keep reverting back to what you think you know. Until you can put a real experience in there, you're going to keep, thinking negatively in this context about Africa. I hope that you guys don't keep falling for the okie doke. I hope that you guys are more critical than that. With the rise of popularity, the continent, and the mass migration of Westerners, they had to combat that some way. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. Guys, are you here? Hello, let me check and see. Please be on code, or else this is going to be a short life. Because I can't talk to myself, guys. 5 of you. Oh, what's up, Odro? Nice to see you. Wow. This is one of our extreme macho men here in Ghana. Thank you so much for stopping by. He's hailing from the north of Ghana in Tamale. He's very, very popular on social media. So if you guys want to see Odro, then go to his social media. It is under, gosh, I feel like I have something on my nose. Sorry, guys. Go to Odro Shed and you will see what I'm talking about. He represents hard for the continent. Thank you so much for stopping by. Your media is highly, highly, highly biased. I spoke to one of my followers today on Instagram that lives in Italy, lives in Milan. And he's a Nigerian, and he sent me an inbox, and I had basically posted something on my Instagram relating to, racist things. I post a lot of that stuff on my Instagram. And so he wrote, and he said, it's unbelievable. I never knew these things were going on until I came to Europe. So at the same context that Westerners are seeing negative things and false things or exacerbated things about Africa, people here on the continent are also getting biased information. Okay. To them, the West is posh. To them, the West is opportunity. To them, non-Black people are friendly and smart and beautiful and all of that. And I think a lot of Westerners in those settings, they have encountered foreigners when they get there kind of just being very idyllic about going to America, going to UK, going to Germany. A lot of times they have a serious wake-up call. So I was talking to this Nigerian and he was telling me that, so many things were eye-opening to him. He couldn't believe it when he got to Europe, and that it was never portrayed. The media is biased, and it is based on your location. So when you go to different places, you're going to get a different skew. And this is something I figured out when I moved to England. When I started coming here to the continent, I would see that, oh, wow, the news and the spin of the news or the spin of the media is different depending on where you go. Like, for instance, here in Ghana, they have these like soap operas, or they're called telenovas here. Okay. And they will have Indian characters, but there will be a voiceover in Tree, which is one of the, very popular Ghanaian languages. Okay. And it's crazy because, I just think about kids watching these telenovas thinking, wow, Indian people speak our language. Because they're seeing Indian people, so to speak, with a Tree voiceover. And that would give them the perception, oh, these people are friendly. Oh, they know my language. And when they actually, because obviously Indian people, there are Indians here, but they're a minority, definitely not a huge abundance of them. But when, for instance, a Ghanaian would interact with one for the first time, they might be shocked that, oh, wow, these people don't speak our language, because that's the media that they get. They project the West in a very, very positive light over here. They neglect to talk about the violence, to talk about the racial things. You know what I mean? Because again, they want the Africans to come and work and do the dirty work. Okay. In order to have them motivated to do that, they need to have this perception that their dreams are going to come true. America's really good with that whole projection of the American dream. There's so much opportunity here. Another thing they don't showcase here in Africa is like the homelessness, the drug epidemic. They don't showcase these things there because they want to motivate these people to go. And again, guys, S&P, the mission statement of this platform, strategy, maturity, and patience. You need to start at this stage of the game. You should be evaluating a lot of things. When you see certain things taking place, it's not for you to focus on that actual, event. It's for you to analyze the root cause. When people ask me, well, if Africa's so nice, why are Africans dying to come here? Why are they traveling through the desert? And why are they, doing migrant boats to Europe and going through Mexico and all this stuff? It's because they believe, it's instilled in them from childhood, and all the exposure that they have is that life is abroad. Okay. You've made it in life when you get abroad. If you marry a foreigner, it's going to be sweet. You're going to be rich as soon as you get there, and that's how they feel. And there's very little downsides to that. So much so that any of you guys that have ever come here from the West, if you try to tell local people some of the things you go through, or when they ask you, why have you moved here? And you start telling them why, they were rejected, because it's so far-fetched for them. They literally have not seen or heard of these things. And even other Africans that have migrated are also being deceptive and not telling them the reality of living abroad. They want to play the role that they've made it and all of that kind of thing. So again, I'm just prompting you guys to be aware, to evaluate the information that you are getting. There are some independent news outlets, that are not controlled by, per se, the biggest people. But I have to tell you, to have a news outlet like a TV network or a radio, you have to have a lot of money. So that limits the type of people that can get into that business, with the exception maybe of social media. Okay. But even here on social media, we have parameters on what we can and cannot say, because obviously if we get too controversial, they'll just shut down our platforms, unless we have an independent website or something like that. So you've got to take this information that you get via social media, but definitely through the mainstream media, with a grain of salt. Start critically analyzing things and asking yourselves, does this make sense? Does this make sense? Okay. And if you can't figure it out, because you just can't figure it out, watch what the white people are doing. Okay. When the white people stop flocking to Africa, then maybe you can be concerned. Because for instance, when, like, let's say if a neighborhood is getting, run down, or crime is up in the neighborhood or whatever. Okay. The white people would be the first ones to move out. This is in America, UK, Canada. Okay. They'll be the ones that will be leaving the area, because they can see how the area is changing. Now, they're not going to walk around and tell their neighbors, hey guys, you guys need to get out of here, but they're going to make that move. When whites stop flocking to Africa, some of you guys that have been on planes to Africa know they will be chock full of whites coming to Africa. When that stops happening, you can question Ebola. You can question monkeypox. You can question poverty and this lifestyle and stuff. Why in the world would whites, who are known for enjoyment, okay, they like a very laid back life. Matter of fact, if they can have other people doing work for them and them just capitalizing, that's the way they want it. That's a structure that they have actually created through history, which is where they do very little, but they capitalize because they put the infrastructure in, they own this, they have slaves, they're doing whatever. They just benefit as we suffer and perpetuate their wealth. Okay, so ask yourself, with what you know, would they be coming to Africa if it was dangerous, disease-filled, unsafe, unwelcoming? You don't see whites. You don't see full planes of whites going to Gaza right now, I'm pretty sure. I don't even know if the airspace is open over there. Okay? You don't see plane full of whites going to the Middle East, conflict areas. They don't go there. Why don't they go there? Because it's dangerous, not safe for them. But they're filling up planes coming to Africa while telling you that monkeypox is on the rise and it's dangerous and all this stuff. Guys, I mean, at this point, you should know the tactics. You should know some of the tactics. Okay, a zebra never changes its stripes. It's not that they are changing. They're not changing. It's our inability to understand and receive it and accept it as it is. That's what it is, because they have been doing the same heinous stuff since the beginning of time. It's very, very clear based off these histories to make an assessment about their opinion of us. So I'm making this message because obviously, like I said, I don't know what's being projected on the Western side about the current situation of the monkeypox here, but it's not the talk. And there's nobody, no measures or be on alert. I haven't actually seen any cases of it, people walking around. So I don't know, but the media is biased, and that's a fact. Big shout outs, guys. Okay, there's a couple comments. I'm about to be wrapping up because I see y'all in here, but what's up, S.A. Smith? I see you there. Big shout outs to you. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you, Sweetberry. Shout outs to my 3 in the chat room today. Yes, it's the one and only African superstar. Just reminding you guys, S&P, come on. You know, come on. These people are always doing the same things. And you should know it. You know, one thing about them is they're always in competition. They're always in war, even if you don't know it. Okay. There is currently a race for Africa. Okay. Because this is the last part of the world that has not fully been developed, which means there's a lot of opportunity here. Duh. Okay. And so if you can set booby traps for your perceived enemies, if you can slow them down or completely deter them or, you know, cause them to miss out or whatever, then that's what they're going to do. You know, and our people already are not cognizant enough to realize that this is the final frontier and that this is where our attention should be headed. You know, I did a video about this probably a few months ago where I talked about emotions aside, okay, because I do recognize some diasporans, namely Black Americans, have very, very strong feelings about Africa, and they have a lot of psychological issues and trauma from the past and all this stuff. Aside from all that, looking at what could potentially be achieved here versus what could potentially be achieved in your Western setting, hands down, there's opportunity here. Opportunity here that you can't even compare it with what you could do or what is afforded to you in those settings. You know, I understand in China, for instance, as a foreigner, you can't even own land. You can't even own a home in China as a non-foreigner. Okay, that means when you're in China, you are literally visiting because you can't put your roots down in China if you're not Chinese. Obviously, in America, it's very expensive to perhaps buy land. You know, and the farmlands are being taken over by Bill Gates. He's currently the largest farm owner in the US. He's buying up everybody's farms and stuff. So how would you get into farming if you're interested? And not only that, a lot of these rural communities, which are typically not that diverse, they don't want you out there anyway. They're doing stuff such as assaulting, you know, Black farmers. They're killing them in some cases. There was one farmer of which his racist neighbors poisoned all of his cattle and set some of his land on fire. You know, so they're doing stuff to run you out. So when you look at the factors that you face in those settings, you know, the options that are here currently on the continent are options that can actually create generational wealth. You see, in America, for instance, it's very, very difficult to generate generational wealth because all your resources are constantly being consumed. And when it's time to pass it on, some people don't even have heirs, they don't have children, or the government and the state will figure out how to absorb your place. Oh, well, they failed to pay taxes. There's nobody to, you know, no next of kin. So they absorb it or they auction off your stuff. You know, so it's all set up and designed for you not to be able to accumulate anything. You still have a potential here to accumulate things, own things, buy things, create. Your competition does not want you to do that. As always, they want everything to themselves and they want us to have nothing. They want us to be the permanent underclass. Okay. In order for there to be superior people, for there to be the elites, it requires the working class. It requires the people that are going to go to work every day for these companies, that are going to sustain these companies so that the CEOs and the people at the top can be rich. Okay. When we stop being the consummate consumer, they miss out on a lot of money. Okay. Who's going to buy Jordans every time they come out? Okay. Who's buying bottles of Ace of Spades and Alizé? Who's ready to party every weekend? Who's buying the brand new iPhones every time they come out, and new cars and clothes and shoes and everything? We are. They can't afford for us to wake up and become smart with our money and resources. They can't afford for us to vacate the West and come and create our own businesses here and create our own path here. No. Okay. They want to prevent that from happening. And the media is just one of their many tricks and tools that they use to do this. So this is just your friendly reminder. Hey, whatever you're hearing out there through the mainstream media, take it with a grain of salt. Do your own research. You guys know that when you're, for instance, scrolling on Facebook or you're on Instagram and you see, this is what happens to me. I love dresses. Okay. I wear a lot of dresses. And I'll look at a dress at like fashionnova.com or maybe ASOS, or I have some other of my favorite websites. Suddenly, the dress starts showing up on Google. The dress starts showing up on Facebook, starts showing up on Instagram. This is a moniker for how they control your media. Okay, wherever you express some type of interest, they start cultivating similar types of media to market to you. Okay, to get you to buy, to get you to watch, because they figured out, oh yeah, Gina likes this dress. I saw her click on it at, fashionnova.com, and now it's popping up everywhere. And the more it pops up, the more you think about it, the more it's on your mind, the more you want to purchase it, perhaps. You start feeling like, I really love that dress. I really want that pair of shoes. I want to upgrade my car. Oh, I want the new, tablet or the new iPhone. It's all strategic. Our media is very, very heavily manipulated. Okay, there's a saying, you are what you eat. And versus back in the days, the media was projected to us through radio, TV, but now it's in our phones. We have our phones with us 24/7, even when we go to the bathroom, even when we're in the bed. Okay, we wake up in the morning, first thing we do, reach for our phone, check our emails, check our messages. It's a marketing tool, guys. And it's biased, it's skewed. Big shout outs. Okay, I'm going to read these comments. Big shout outs. S.A. Smith says they are about survival. It's a fact. They're playing for keeps and we're trying to be kumbaya. Oh, world peace. Oh my gosh. Well, they're not all bad, Gina. Some of them are good. Bro, majority is bad. So according to math, if the number is more than 5, it's over half. It's majority at that point. Okay, I'm talking about millions of instances, reasons why we should not trust them at all, or anything that they say, or anything that they advise us. Matter of fact, whatever they advise us, probably we should do the complete opposite. Because whatever they're promoting us to do, they're never going to promote us to do things that's for the growth and edification of our community. Duh. Fly KM, I see you there. What's up, ATM International? Guys, if you're here, like the stream. It's the one and only African superstar. Your media is heavily biased. Okay, it's heavily biased. They're lying to you about a lot of things. They're subliminally controlling you. They're inputting things into you. I'm not a big media person. I know that's kind of like an oxymoron because I'm a YouTuber, but in terms of like my personal life, I don't own TV, very, very seldom watch TV. I'm very cautious about what I let go into my mind, especially as an artist. I don't want to regurgitate nonsense. You see, so I'm very, very, I don't watch explicit things. I don't watch violent things, horror movies, anything like that, because I don't want those influences coming into me. I try to watch informational, things on YouTube, listen to documentaries here and there and all of that. But obviously, I know that you got to take this stuff with a grain of salt because it's coming from somebody's, view. And if they're telling this story, they're going to paint themselves as the hero. We're the only people that don't paint ourselves as the hero and centralize our community around ourselves. We centralize around them. You know, in our community, they're beautiful, they're smart, their countries is the place to be. You know, we are the natural influencers and marketers in this world. If we decided, yeah, Ghana's the place to be. You know, how did Ghana get so popular? It got popular because people, you know, the year of return, celebrities started coming here, lots of diasporians started coming here, which led to African migrants catching on and wanting to come back. You know, Woda Maya was on YouTube promoting people to come. Lots of YouTubers, Dynasty Mir was promoting. That was us promoting to ourselves, and we made it lit. We made it hot. We created the curiosity for people to come. Nope, they didn't encourage us to come to Africa. They never have. You know, that is an organic movement and an example of when we promote ourselves, what we're capable of. But we centralize our needs and wants and aspirations around people that are not ourselves. And that's where we keep falling short. Big shout out to the family. Gosh, my nose, I don't know what is going on. All right. S.A. Smith says, Bill Gates over in Africa acting like he has an official title. He would not even be allowed to do what he's doing here in the U.S. I don't know why African leaders are listening to him. Well, you know, the complex here. What's up, Cancer Oracle? I see you there. Thanks for joining. Yes, representing from Louisiana. I see you guys. Yeah, the media is biased, guys. I'm over here in Africa. I've been here for 4 good years. Ask yourself, okay? How many of you guys, matter of fact, first trivia question. Okay, what's up, Stacy G? See you there, family. Good to see you, as always. Ask yourself the question. Ask yourself the question in your own personal lives, all right? Would you leave luxury to go to abject poverty? Have any of you guys ever done that? Have you guys ever deliberately downgraded your lifestyle? You know, where you lived, maybe your car. And I'm not talking about a strategic, oh, I'm about to move out the country, so I need to, you know, go for a more affordable place. I'm talking about you drove through the hood and was like, oh yeah, that building right next to the crack house, that is calling me. Oh yeah, these hood niggas on the corner, yeah, I want to live here. Every night they shooting, yeah. Yeah, I want to bring my kids into this neighborhood so they can get caught up in gangs and, you know, become teenage mothers. Hello. So ask yourself, you're seeing a lot of diasporian people moving to Africa. Why would they do that if it's as it's projected? Why are there so many of us coming here on social media and encouraging and petitioning those of you back in the West to at least just check it out? Why? Because the reality here is vastly different than the narrative that we were receiving when we lived abroad. Hello. Your media is heavily biased, okay? It's painting a particular picture for a particular reason. And like I said, all the other non-Black ethnicities are coming to the continent in droves, okay? They are not deterred. The Chinese are not deterred. The Indians are not deterred. The Lebanese are not deterred. Okay, the Europeans are not deterred. The only ones who are deterred are us. We're as usual, we're the last ones to get the memo. And at this point, like I said, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, 311, 6 million, 400, 500, 600 years. Shame on me. Shame on me. You should always be skeptical when interacting with your enemies. You guys are trying to reach and look for good in people that are no good. You're looking for justification to exclude this person from what their people historically do and who they are. Instead of saying, you know what? I can't trust this source. I can't trust Fox and CNN to tell me about Africa. What What interest do they have in Africa for me? You know, back when I was doing my first trip, planning my first trip to the continent, in which I went to South Africa and Ghana, I was doing like a lot of research. This was back like 2014, 2015. And I would go online and I would look for, you know, information, travel blogs and stuff about people that went to Africa. And all that I found out there was a lot of information from white people. You know, and they were doing missionary work and they were going on the safaris. And I didn't want to read that. I didn't want to see that, because I realized, you know, that's not my experience. Whatever they're going through, you know, is different. You know, a white person traveling from the US to Paris or the US to Germany is different than a black person traveling to the same locations. So I wanted an experience for people, you know, and then I found African America in Africa, who I haven't checked her channel in a really long time, but back in those days it was her and Dynasty Amir. You know, they were the black YouTubers that were actually going to Africa at that time. African America in Africa, she was already living in Zambia, which is where she currently is, I believe. No, Namibia. Yeah, she lives in Namibia. She got married. You know, eventually she went there to teach, and then she got married and had children, and she settled there. And then obviously a lot of you guys know Dynasty Amir from, you know, California, who has traveled extensively in Africa. And, you know, they were really fundamental in giving me the ease and the comfort to go on, because they were showing and encouraging us at that point, way back in 2015. Now, y'all do the math. That's almost 10 years ago. Some of y'all still dragging your feet. And you're missing out, and you will miss out. You will miss out, because the other people are coming here, they're coming here with intent. Okay, we're still doing diaspora wars, and we're still here in the comments, and we're still here doing, you know, nonsense, non-productive conversations cyberly, while our enemies and competitors are taking tangible action to put their infrastructure in. Okay, and again, we have countless case studies that show us how they get down. We can use South Africa as an example. Currently, white South Africans, I can't stand. I don't actually use that term. I use white people in South Africa, because there's nothing like a white South African. Okay. But basically, the white people in South Africa, they have now taken the dominance of the farmland in South Africa, although they are a minority in the country. Okay, once again, the blueprint is get control. Okay, get a cornerstone, get a business, get some land, do some real estate, and get these people working for you. Okay, get these people, fueling your business. Get these people propelling you to wealth. That's what they're all about. Okay? They don't want competitors. They don't want us to be enlightened. Your media is heavily biased. Even social media now. You know, you see all these, like I said, these diaspora wars. Oh, Africans don't like Black Americans. Black Americans don't like Africans. You know, all this struggle life, relationship scams, land scams. You're going to see them videos. Them videos are going to go viral. You know, videos about the landscape in Ghana, you're never going to see. Videos about the history, you're never going to see. You know, videos about the low crime rate, you're never going to see. Because, again, your media is highly, highly, highly manipulated. Big shout outs to the family. All right. I'm about to wrap up soon. If you guys have anything else left to say, drop it in the chat room now, or forever hold your peace. And plug. You know, I'm talking about it being biased, the media being biased. Again, I'm inviting you guys to come to Ghana with me. Okay. I'm here. I should give you some confidence. I've been now living here for 4 good years, you know, but I'm now offering a tour where I personally going to take you around the country. be your personal escort and tour guide for a week's time. Our next tour is October 21st through the 27th. The information is the box below. You can book at my tour partner's website, www.tayeahuru.com. Full itinerary is there. You could submit your deposit or you can pay for it outright right on the website, and we will begin to prepare for you to come to Ghana, because I believe in each one, teach one. Okay? So I've come here to the continent, and I'm going to put out this information as a beacon of light to those of you out there and say, okay, guys, I know what they've brainwashed us with, but I'm here. It's safe. It's cool. I'm available to also introduce it to you. And then once you have that information, you pass it on. You share it with your kids or your relatives or your friends. And that's how we do this thing. Word of mouth. Cancer Oracle says the Black race as a whole needs to come together, invest in TV production companies, radio station business owners. We can do it. They have brainwashed us so much. We're busy fighting each other in the USA. S.A. Smith says what's happening in S.A. is crazy. One white man publicly said they are isolating themselves from Black South Africans and doing things their way. And again, I like I said, fool me once, shame on me. At this point, it's shame on us. Like Cancer Oracle said, it's obvious that our outlets are poisoned. Even the Blacks that work for a lot of these media houses, they're coons. Okay? They sound just like our enemies. Okay? They're out there speaking on behalf of our enemies and trying to influence our people, because they're going to be role models in some cases. They're elevated, they're visible, they're rich or whatever. They appear successful. So some of our people are going to be like, oh my gosh, look at Omarosa, look at Candace Owens, look at Steve Harvey, and other well-known coons. They're going to be aspire to emulate these people, but these people are being used as tools because of money. So like Cancer said, the very obvious thing is to have our own outlets. Hello? Does what I tell you on this channel, does it sound anything like mainstream media? The way that I'm portrayed here, the way I'm portrayed in my image, does it remind you of other Black women in the public eye? Most of famous Black women in the public eye are sex pops. Okay? Most Black female musicians are explicit, very sexual, objectified. Now, I'm in control of this media. So I'm giving you a completely different narrative. That's what we're able to do when we have our own media outlets. We can speak freely. We can say what we want to say. We can minister to our people directly. But obviously, when you have to go through those mainstream channels, you're going to do what they want you to do. You're going to have the image that they want you to have. And that's it. That's all she wrote. So I want this to be in the back of your mind. And this is something you also need to be teaching your kids. Because sometimes they're watching this TV or they're on video games constantly. They're getting a warped sense of what the real world is and what it's not. And I mean, my parents had that conversation with me when I was young. Gina, this is entertainment. This is TV. This is not real. The happy ending and, harmony and all that stuff. It's all TV magic. We have a real issue with being real with ourselves and our kids and our people. We just don't want to say it. And I don't know why, because obviously we know a lot of things are true. What I'm telling you today isn't something that it's not an epiphany. You know that your media is biased. You know that your media lies. You could even see a situation where you know what happens and then hear about it on the news and be like, wait a minute, that's totally different than what went down. But you will still use that bias and compromised media as the foundation of your beliefs about this and that and the other. Got a lot of black men thinking black women are difficult and not desirable. Got a lot of black women thinking black men ain't nothing. And, you know, it's all coming from the media. Now, obviously, yeah, you might have had your run-ins and your failed relationships and all of this, but this stuff is subliminally going into you. If you're someone who's constantly listening to podcasts and watching these gossip shows, be careful, because that stuff is shaping your mind. You know, I remember a girlfriend of mine who used to watch this Cynthia G here on YouTube. And Cynthia G, you know, she's a hypocrite, basically. You know, she talks one way and what she practices in her personal life is different. Yet she has a whole cult following, similar to Kevin Samuels. You know, he had a cult following of these people hanging on to their every word. Meanwhile, that's not how they really want. You know, and my friend came to me and said, you know what, I was listening to Cynthia G. She was having me hating men. And in the end of the day, I really want a partner. I really want a boyfriend. I want a husband or whatever. Exactly. You start listening to these people, more and more you start sounding like them, and you start projecting what they are influencing you with subliminally. So I would say when you listen to people, okay, be very selective with who you listen to. Make sure they're on a wavelength that you want to be on or where you're trying to get to, that they're more of a resource than anything. Because if you look at their lives, because if a lot of black men were honest, they don't want the life that Kevin Samuel had. Hello. If some of you ladies look at these women that you're listening to, you're listening to Cardi B. Look at Cardi B. Huh? You're listening to Meg Thee Stallion. Okay. You're listening to Cynthia G. You're listening to Tommy Sotomayor. Okay. You're listening to Andrew Tate or whoever, you know, and these people are warping your mind. If the person that you are spending a lot of time listening to doesn't talk sense, it doesn't live a life that you want, you shouldn't be listening. Down to me. If you felt, oh, I don't like Gina, I don't want to be like her. I don't want to be an international award-winning artist. I don't want to be a baller. I don't want to, you know, successfully migrate and not have a lot of drama and be cool and laid back. I want something else. Then by all means, you know, because you are what you eat. I'm very careful, again, who influences me, who I listen to, who I watch, because I'm very aware that it can become a part of my way of life, the way my thinking, my speech, my music, my outlook, you know. Big shout out to the African superstar family. All right, guys. Oh, there's a few more. Okay. Big shout outs. What's up? What's up? What's up? Okay. Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, but majority of famous blacks in the Western world, they're sellouts. They had to be. You know, they influence our people negatively. They're taking it up the butt. Hello, you know, they've slept their way to the top. They're spewing poison, you know, through their music. You know, violent, drugs. You know, things that's going to send them straight to prison. You know, they've done all that for the love of money. And that's what's gave them the spotlight, because, again, people that talk truth, people that are controversial, people that are positive, they never get that same spotlight. You know, I'm talking about Cynthia G. I'm not hating on her because I think she's here to make money. But if I came on YouTube every day and I slammed black men, my platform would balloon and turn into, you know, a huge blossom. You know, viral clips everywhere. Meanwhile, I come here, talk positive, promote my people, intelligent conversation, thoughtful thoughts, and we are where we are. But I'm aware that in order for me to get so high, which is not my aspirations at all, I would need to sell out to get there. And I'm not doing that, you know, because I don't do everything for money. You lose your integrity when you start selling out for money all the time. You know, I'd rather do what I do for the love of it and live a more moderate life than be a millionaire, billionaire and be a sellout. You know, these people, they got enemies everywhere. They're watching their back because they didn't cross everybody to get to the top. I don't have that problem. You know, big shout outs to everybody who's in the chat room. Thank you so much. What's up? Big shout outs. Yes, you must. And there's a lot of, you know, we know these specific agendas that are being harpooned at our community. And we fall for it. And our you know, our phones, you know, and everything is constantly showing us certain things to get us, you know, whatever you interact with, whatever you watch, whatever you like, whatever you comment, they see that, okay, you know, I know that obviously like my Instagram, it continually tries to bring up interracial dating on my platform. Like, and I delete it, block. When it says, why did you do this? I put not interested, don't want it. Because they're trying to influence us, guys. Why are they trying to influence us? They want to reduce our population. How do they do that? By destroying the union between black men and women. Duh. Let's be real. Second trivia question. Are all black men bad? Yes or no? All black men bad out there? Question for the fellas. Are all black women bad? Have you not met some nice ones? Your sister not nice? Your mom not nice? Your wife not nice? Your husband not nice? Your brother? Everybody's bad. That's the narrative they want to teach us, to make us believe. You've only had 2-3 relationships, maybe. And you out here thinking the whole, all black men is bad. Reality, there's millions. Millions black men out there. Millions of black women out there. Global. You mean to tell me that you're going to start having that hatred for your own people? Where is that coming from? A lot of it's coming from the social media. Because there's all this gender war stuff out here. Black women don't do this. Black men don't do this. Again, tools of the enemies. Our black people's faces that are out here driving this, they're money hungry people. They're enemies of the community, race traitors. Okay? Because they're going to do this to capitalize. They're here on social media to get money. So they don't care that they're destroying or perpetuating destruction of our communities. Now, again, what does your African superstar tell you in regards to relationships? Black lovers stay single. I promote it. Because I realize that's how we continue to survive. Is by partnering up with each other. And not simply reproducing, but cultivating families and well-raised children. These people that are out here in the forefront of our community that are spewing destruction. Hello? They are enemies. So, guys, definitely not. Definitely not following the African superstar, because I don't feed into that stuff. But at the end of the day, the moral of the story is your media is biased. Be mindful about that. And do not make strong opinions and judgments based off of compromised media. Do your own research. Get to the bottom of it. Use critical thinking, you know, to deduce the truth of it. Look at the source of these things. And who are these people? Start analyzing these people. Start looking into their history. You know, from what I hear about that Cynthia G, she promotes interracial dating, right? She says such things as black men should never be born. But the first black man that gave her attention, apparently he knocked her up, turned her into a baby mama, right? So that says that what she's out there saying on the platform is not the real talk. When it came to her own personal life, she decided to go. Why did she go? Because she had a desire for that. At the end of the day, Mr. Kevin Samuels, Mr. High Value Man, died hooking up with some woman, you know, all alone. Do you want the lives that these people have? Do you want the lives that, see, and this is another characteristic of these people. They flip-flop. Why do they flip-flop? They want to catch the popular wave. Okay? You know, they might have had this message previously, but that wasn't getting the viewers. That wasn't getting the ad dollars. That wasn't getting viral videos. So now let me flip to the topics that's going to get the crowds. You know, controversy, division, drama. That's what gets people fired up. You know, so going from, for instance, Umar Johnson to the white man, that's a far, that's like opposite ends of the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? And let me just say this. I'm going to say this and I'm going to wrap up. And this might apply to some of you guys, but it is what it is. The truth is that among our people, especially ladies, interracial dating is a last resort. Okay, it means that probably they initially wanted, or they had maybe a bad experience or experiences with black males, so they flip-flop as a default. Black men that swirl, it has to do with their low self-esteem. So at the end of the day, that the root causes of why people are doing that has to do with issues, you know, unhealthy issues that they're dealing with. And for some of you guys that are participating or have participated in those relationships, if you're honest, you can look at yourself and say, you know what? Yeah, I was hurt. Or yeah, I had low self-esteem. You know, that's why, or I had a point to prove. You know, my boyfriend broke my heart, so I went and got with Brad to, you know, make him jealous. You know, or my baby mama really broke my heart or whatever, so I went with Jennifer to in revenge. That's not how you, that's not how relationships are supposed to form or blossom. Okay? Very motivated, you know, whole category of relationships. And instead of us just coming to the consensus that we need each other, we want each other, we're out here trying to prove a point and further creating issues in our community and for our kids. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, guys, I'm done. I've been on here an hour now. Much love to the African Superstar family. Please make sure you've liked the stream. We had about 17 of you here. Hope this message was mindful for you. Again, upcoming tour and also my EP, my music out there. Make sure that you are acclimating yourself with my music. If you are an African Superstar music fan, make sure you add it to your streams or purchase. My music catalog exclusively available at bandcamp.com. Okay? All right, family. I'll see you again soon. Until we meet again, stay black and true. If you ain't black, just stay true.